What is up, guys? And in today's video, I will be doing my yearly ranking of Six Flags Great Adventures roller coasters. Now, I have ridden every single coaster at Great Adventure except for Dark Knight Coaster, but I've ridden every other coaster. Now, let's get right started into this video with our number 13 spot being Little Devil Coaster. This kiddie coaster is, I guess, good for the kids. Now, I will say that one of the turns it has is kind of uncomfortable. It's towards the end of the ride, and since you go around twice, it is kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're taller, I guess, because it does slam you against the side of the seat. But I guess it's a good ride for the kids, but not really much to say here since it is a kiddie coaster. So Little Devil is at the last spot. At my number 12 spot, we have Harley Quinn Crazy Train. I always think this is a pretty fun ride, especially because of the long trains. I always think it's so cool how much of a different ride experience it is compared to the front row to the back row. If you're in the front row, then you'll go slower down the drops and the turns. But if you're in the back row, then you'll get whipped down the drop and have some good laterals on the turn. So I think it's pretty cool, especially, like I said, with the long trains, because it's such a different ride experience. It's so crazy. I really think it's like very cool how a lot of the Zero rides, like the family coasters like that, have such long trains. There's so many of them out there. It's just crazy, and I think it's super cool, and it's definitely a very good ride for the family. There's not much to say about Harley Quinn, but I think it's a very good ride, and the long trains are very, very cool. At my number 11 spot, we have Runaway Mine Train. I think this is a pretty good ride, and especially it is the oldest coaster at Great Adventure, so obviously a tribute to Great Adventure, so it's always nice to get a ride on it. It is a little janky, that's why it's not higher on my list, but it is pretty janky. But I will say that airtime hill at the end of the ride is insane. Insane. If you're in the front row, be prepared to get some insane ejector airtime. It makes no sense that a family coaster would have that much airtime. It makes no sense. Many people call it Mini Magnum, which I honestly agree, because those last bunny hills of Magnum are just insane. You get so much airtime, and that last hill is kind of bringing out the Magnum on Mine Train. It is a very good ride for the family, and it is a little janky, but that airtime hill lives up for all the jankiness. It is a very good family coaster, and just be prepared for that airtime because it's nuts. At my number 10 spot, we have Skull Mountain. Now, the only reason this is above Runaway Mine Train is because, one, it is smoother, and I really do like the flow ejector airtime that you get on the first drop if you're in the back row. It is pretty cool, and it's kind of unexpected, on a family coaster. I guess Great Adventure really likes airtime on family coasters, I guess. But it is definitely a good ride. Now, it's obviously not the best coaster at Great Adventure, and if there was another coaster to go, I think Skull Mountain probably would be the next one to go, just because it's not very popular anymore. And if they really want to keep it, they definitely got to make some great improvements on the inside of the ride. Now, I know they have recently. They've put some more lights in and added a little bit of music, but they really got to step it up a notch and kind of theme it to Skull Mountain, not like party music. But it's still a pretty good ride for the family, obviously. And I think it's still a ride that you should probably check out, especially since I don't know how long it's going to be around anymore. But I think, like I said, they definitely need to make a little bit more improvements because it's not very popular. And I think to get it more popular, they probably are going to have to make some more improvements on it. But it's still a good ride for the kids. And I think, like I said, if you go to Great Adventure, then you should probably check it out because who knows how long it'll be around still. At my number 9 spot, we have Green Lantern. Now, I took my first ever ride on Green Lantern a couple weeks ago, and I do think that it is a pretty good ride. Now, I know it has many, many mixed opinions. A lot of people think it's great, and a lot of people think it's bad. Now, I get kind of both sides. I think that it's not the best ride because it does kind of make your legs feel a little weird, and it does have some headbanging, but if you kind of ride it the right way, I know that kind of sounds weird because you really shouldn't have to ride a coaster the right way, but if you keep your head forward and make sure you're standing, then it'll be a good ride. And like I said, really keep your head forward because it will avoid hitting your ears on those hard restraints, because that's what I do when I ride, or what I used to do when I ride it. And it was a good ride. Now, I'm trying to say was because obviously if you guys don't know, Green Lantern is being demolished, unfortunately, and we'll get to another coaster that unfortunately is going to be demolished too. And while we're talking about demolishing these two coasters, I also want to add that Ka will be on this list, And I wanted to do this video now because I kind of wanted to get this video out before they started any of the demolition of King Ka and Green Lantern, just so it wouldn't be weird and have like Ka and Green Lantern on this list after they demolished it. But anyways, back to Green Lantern. It was a very good ride. I hope you guys got to ride it. I'm sure a lot of people were hesitant to ride it since of all the backlash it got. But it was definitely a very good ride, and like I said, it did make your legs feel a little weird, but if you rode it the right way, then you kind of know that it's not the worst ride in the world. It definitely has a great layout, and it was a very good ride, and farewell to Green Lantern. At my number 8 spot, we have the ride Next Door Superman. Now, I know this is a huge GP crowd pleaser. This ride will get like 2-hour waits, and I honestly have waited 2 hours for this ride only because it reopened after like a while of not being able to ride it, so I wanted to get my ride on it. But it is not the best ride. It gets hyped up by the GP a lot, and the really only good part of it is the pretzel loop and the inline twist. After that, it's just a bunch of turns. Now, it is a pretty relaxing ride, which I do like, so if you're just kind of like trying to relax and not get that crazy airtime, I guess, then it's a good ride for you, but it's definitely not a thrill seeker ride, I guess. And go check out other flying coasters like Tatsu at Six Flags Magic Mountain or Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. Those coasters definitely are a little bit more intense and definitely have a better layout than all the Superman clones. And I'm not saying that's a horrible ride, but it's just not my favorite, and I know a lot of coaster enthusiasts can agree with me with that. And like I said, the pretzel loop is the best part of the ride, 100%, no doubt about it, that is the best part of the ride. Now, the pretzel loop really is the only good part of the ride, except for the inline twist at the end, but it's still a pretty good ride that if you go to Great Adventure, then hey, it's a credit, go ahead and ride it, and I would recommend probably riding it first in the day, because it will get a long line. But like I said, Superman's not my favorite, but it is not the worst ride. At my number 7 spot, we have Joker. This is a very temperamental ride. Now, some days you'll get a completely different ride experience than you did other days. Some days you'll get no flips, and some days you'll get so many flips that you can't even count how many flips you've gotten. I know I've experienced both of those kind of rides. Now, I definitely obviously like the more flips you get. And it's like, you can't even say that it's not intense the first time you ride it. You gotta ride it a lot of times because every ride will be different. Now, I know there's a green side and a purple side. I like to ride the green side because I think that it gives more flips, but hey, it probably is really just like a day of difference, I guess, because one day the green side will be giving more flips, and then the other day the purple side will be giving more flips, so it's really just your preference on which side you want to do. But it's definitely a very good ride that you should definitely check out. There's many clones of it, so if you don't if Great Adventure is not your home park, then you most likely will find another one at another Six Flags park. And it is definitely a good ride, and the first time I rode it, I definitely liked it. So definitely give it a try. It's a very good ride, and it is intense. Like I said, it's either intense or not intense at all, but if you get stuck upside down on one of the valleys, that is just the best. It is very good hang time. But like I said, Joker is a pretty good ride that you should definitely check out. At my number 6 spot, we have Batman the Ride. Now, this ride is very intense no matter where you sit. In my opinion, I think that the front row is more intense than the back row. That is just in my opinion, though, and I know a lot of people think different of that. The back row is very good on the drop, but the front row is just insane for the views and the amount of G-forces you get, which you get in any other row, but I don't know. To me, just like the front row is just so much G-forces. It's just insane. You will gray out on this ride. Mostly every time I ride it, I do gray out. Makes your legs feel like jelly, especially on that turnaround or that helix. It definitely just makes my legs feel like jelly, and kind of like the same feeling as Green Lantern. But it doesn't last. Like I know with Green Lantern, like it lasted a little bit with my legs feeling like jelly, and then it went away. But with Batman, it's really only on the ride that you feel it. It's a very, very, very intense ride, and very good pacing too. And like I said, same with Joker and same with Superman. You can find many of these clones all around Six Flags, and even some Cedar Fair parks too. Or I guess now all Six Flags. But if you, like I said with Joker, if Great Adventure is not your home park, then it won't be hard finding another Batman clone, or just a ride like Batman that has the same layout but just not called Batman. Because I know something like Six Flags Fiesta Texas has Goliath, which is the same layout as Batman, just not called Batman. But there's many Batman clones out there, And it's a very intense ride that if you go to Great Adventure, it definitely, unless you've ridden a clone, then it's definitely is a must. Because if you haven't ridden a Batman clone, then you definitely want to check it out, because it's definitely a very good ride. Like I said, very, very intense. And it's definitely a very good ride that I like to ride very often when I go to Great Adventure. At my number 5 spot, we have Medusa. This ride that's all the way tucked in the back of the park is a very, very good floorless coaster. I like row 4 because I think it's a very good row. Also, I think it's smooth. Back row seems pretty good too. I haven't ridden back row, but it just seems very good too. Front row is okay. It's a little more rattly. Definitely a little bit more of a B&M rattle in the front row. But okay, I want to talk about the hang time that you get on the loop after you go down the first drop. It's just a very weird hang time. Literally, here, I'll put a picture up and I'll point to where the hang time is. It's just right at that part of the loop, you get some very weird hang time. I don't know what it's about, but it's very, very cool. I definitely think it's a very cool feeling. And it's definitely a very good ride. And I think that of course, the theming is very good. It's been through a lot of different theming phases. It went from Medusa, 1999, and then went to Bizarro. Now it's back to Medusa. I think it's good as Medusa. I think Bizarro was a little bit like, but I think Medusa's better. Keep it with the 1999 theme. But it's a very good ride that make sure not to miss it. Just because it's in the back of the park doesn't mean it's not a good ride. Definitely go check out Medusa because it is a very good ride. At my number 4 spot, we have Jersey Devil. Now, this ride has a lot of mixed opinions, just like Green Lantern. But I really like this coaster, especially if it's running fast. Some days it's not running fast, and if you look at other Raptors pacing, it's very, very different from other Raptors. But hey, I think it's cool that it's different. It's a pretty good ride. Like, it does have a little bit of a rattle, but that's okay. And it definitely has some good air time. If you're going to Great Adventure, definitely check it out. I think back row is the best row, especially off of that first drop. It's just insane air time that you get in the back row off of the first drop. And like I said, the pacing isn't always the best, but it's still a great ride and good theming too. But if you go to Great Adventure, I think you should definitely check it out, because it's definitely a good ride, and it is in my top 4 spot, so definitely go check it out because it is a very good ride. Now, this might be a little controversial, but at my number 3 spot, we have El Toro. Now, this coaster is awesome. Now, these top 3 coasters are so close that it's so hard to rank them. Toro is just an amazing ride, so much airtime, so great ejected airtime. Just an amazing ride. That Rolling Thunder Hill is actually insane. Here's a tip for riding Toro if you're not really a coaster enthusiast or you're just kind of getting into coasters. Ride it in a non-wheel seat. So on Toro, there's 18 rows, and there's 6 cars. So in each car, there's 3 rows, or 3 seats. Yeah, 3 rows. And you want to choose the middle row, which is not a wheel seat. Wheel seats are going to be rougher than non-wheel seats. So I always go for a non-wheel seat. I think the best rows are row 2 and row 17. I've been going to row 2 because I think it's smoother and I just like row 2. But if you go to row 17, then it's an amazing first drop. The Rolling Thunder Hill definitely hits hard in the back row, and it hits hard in every row, but especially in the back row. So definitely try to choose a non-wheel seat because it'll be much smoother than a wheel seat, because it is a very, very big difference from a wheel seat and a non-wheel seat. I know I've ridden a wheel seat and a non-wheel seat, and they have very big differences. But Toro is just an amazing ride, and I think if you go to Great Adventure, it is a must. Like, you cannot skip Toro. Unless it's closed, you can't skip it, because it is one of the best wooden coasters in the world, and it's just an amazing ride. And if you go to, like I said, if you go to Great Adventure, don't skip this ride. It's an amazing coaster. At my number 2 spot, we have King Da Ka. R.I.P. the King. We love Ka. Long live the King. This coaster was amazing. I'm very sad that it's going. I know all of us are. It was such a great ride. That launch was just epic. Of course, 128 miles an hour, 456 feet tall. 28-second long ride. It was just an amazing coaster. That top hat, you could see so much, and it was just an amazing coaster, and I really hope that you guys got to go on it, because it was, like I said a million times, just an amazing coaster. And I really feel bad for people who didn't get to go on it because it was the tallest coaster in the world, and it's just an amazing ride that if you had the chance to, you definitely should have ridden it because it's just a great ride. Like I've said for the millionth time, I can't say it enough that Ka is just, in my opinion, the number 2 coaster in the park. That launch is really nothing that we'll see anymore because Top Thrill 2 has an LSM now. Then, of course, it was Top Thrill Jackson, that's gone now, and Ka is also gone now. So you're really not going to see a lot of hydraulics coming in anymore. Really, Storm Runner at Hershey is really the only one left except for Red Force, I guess you could say. But Storm Runner has a very good launch too, so if you want to have something similar to Ka, then I guess go to Hershey and go ride Storm Runner. But Ka was just an amazing, amazing ride that I know I'm very sad that is going, and I'm really hoping that something new will come for Ka. But long live the king, and for Ka is my number 2 spot at Six Flags Great Adventure. And one last time, long live the king. At my number 1 spot, we have Nitro, the B&M Hypercoaster. I really like hypercoasters. I think that Nitro is an amazing ride that if you go to Great Adventure, you definitely should ride. And I would recommend doing D-Train if you get the chance. If you get the chance to ride D-Train, D as in David, then you will have a fantastic ride. Any train will have a fantastic ride, but D-Train runs very, very fast. And it's just a great ride. I think back row is probably a little bit better than front row. I like front row because of the wind, and then back row for the whip and stuff off of the first drop. But front row is awesome too. Really, any row on Nitro is amazing. And like I said, if you go to Great Adventure, definitely ride Nitro. It is a very good coaster. In my opinion, is number 1 coaster at Great Adventure. I think that Helix is just insane at the end of the ride. So many G-forces, makes me grab pretty much every single time. And I think it's a very good ride that you get so much flow ejector airtime, and if it's running fast, and ejector airtime, and sometimes floater, but mostly flow ejector airtime. It's just an amazing ride that if you go to Great Adventure, then it is a must. Okay guys, that was almost every single coaster at Great Adventure rank except for Dark Knight Coaster, which I will ride eventually. I think it'll probably rank where Runaway Mine Train is and Harley Quinn, or just those rides in the lower ranking. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my ranking of all the Six Flags Great Adventures roller coasters. But that is just going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, guys.